Yo, I'm back. Yes, I did not give up on the podcast. I just had a lot going on, some life events, some happy moments, pretty much. But outside of that, busy working my ass off trying to get my money back up. Either way, I'm still busy, but I looked at my wrist and I got time today. Work the money bag, yo. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock this Donda review out. Initially, I told you I was not very excited about doing it. That might have changed a little bit. I feel like in the 2.5, 3 weeks that the album has been out, I've been, revisiting it, sitting with it, researching, trying to understand exactly what the fuck Kanye had in mind when he was putting this album together. And I feel like my opinion on it is evolved since I first told you I wasn't excited to do it. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna play the my little intro music or whatever, and then we're gonna go ahead and get this Donda review done. Yeah, so Donda, right? Like, I feel like it's a solid album. That's just my opening thoughts, right? I feel like it's a solid album. Definitely not Kanye's best, but definitely not his worst. Honestly, I'm not very connected to it. I like my music with a little bit more profanity. And then Kanye just doesn't seem all that organized with his thoughts. Just listening to his lyrics or whatever. Like, I don't know. I didn't really get introspective Kanye like I felt like I was supposed to get. Like, this is about his mom. You know what I'm saying? So I thought I was going to get like some really like deep, meaningful lyricism from Kanye. And for me, in my opinion, that was not necessarily the case. Not saying that the music is bad, it's just the album title and the direction that I thought he was going to go with this album are like opposites, if that makes sense. Like, this is about his mom, or from what Andre 3000 said in his statement about the record that leaked, or that Drake leaked. This was supposed to be like a musical tribute to his mom. I didn't necessarily get that from this project. That record that him and Kanye did, Andre 3000, him and Andre 3000 did, I got that. Well, from Andre. It's weird. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. Let's just get into what I had in my thoughts, right? So the rollout, let's start there. The rollout, I actually really liked it. I liked the whole listening party thing. I think Kanye is probably like the best male artist, at least, of today, that really puts a lot of attention to detail and thought into rolling out a project and giving you a complete experience. Like those 3 listening parties and all of this shit with Drake or whatever. Like, I felt like we was in a certain era with the music. That's another thing that kind of threw me off about the project. He took a lot of time and energy to antagonize Drake, and then when you listen to the music, it's not very combative. Like, I didn't really hear any shots or anything at Drake or whatever. Like, I don't know. He kind of bamboozled us a little bit, made it seem like, oh, we finna get some bars for Drake. And he spoke on Drake a little bit, but not like what I was thinking. But rollout was fire. 2 shows in Atlanta. For those of you who don't know, that's actually where Kanye was born. And then he closed out those listening parties in Chicago with 1 show where it was like a house out there, and he came out on fire and shit. I think Kim pulled up in some white dress. Big theatrics. That's just kind of shit that I love from Kanye, the theatrics and all of that. I feel like he's very, very good at telling a story when he can actually paint a picture for us to see. So I ain't had no issue with the rollout. Moving on to the music. The features was fire. Some of everybody was on there, from Playboi Carti. I actually got a list right here. Let me pull it up. From Playboi Carti to, let's just start from the top. We had Jay-Z on here. Voria, don't know who that is. I think I know who Voria is, but I don't. Playboi Carti, 5 Foreign's on here. Lil Baby and The Weeknd. Baby Keem's on here, which I actually fuck with that record a lot. Baby Keem and Travis Scott. Lil Durk, Lil Yachty, Young Thug is on the project. Don Toliver, Kid Cudi are on the project. Ariana Grande singing ass. She got some vocals. Conway the Machine. I don't know these people, but they're on the album. The Lox made an appearance, which was fire after how Jadakiss just stole the verses from Dipset. Jay Electronica's on here with some Swiss beats and, inspiration. Chris Brown, Pop Smoke, which let Pop Smoke rest in peace. I probably was part of the album. I was a little like, because I'm tired of hearing that like New York drill sounding beat or whatever. No disrespect to New York and the New Yorkers or whatever, but all of you artists from New York, well, most of you anyway, because some are not, but most of y'all newcomers or whatever, y'all are all taking this sound that Pop Smoke kind of popularized and not even making it your own, just literally just rapping over these same kind of beats. And to me, it's starting to get a little repetitive, a little redundant. Kanye decided he was going to take his own stab at it, which was fine. So it is what it is. Roddy Ricch is on here. Shenseea has some amazing vocals on here as well. He has some Sunday Service Choir folks on here. That's dope. Ty Dolla $ign made an appearance as well. So the features were stacked. Somebody called it. I seen somewhere where somebody said like, oh, this is a gospel DJ Khaled album produced by Kanye West. And I'm not necessarily against that commentary, because literally out of all of the songs on this album, like I want to say 3-4 of them did not have features. I want to say like 3 or 4 of them, maybe even 2. And that's saying a lot, because the Donda album is about like 1 hour and 45 minutes long. Like, it's not a short album. Same shit we used to, not used to. We still chastise Chris Brown about for giving us these fucking days long projects. Like, we have time to listen to all of that. Yeah, 27 songs, 1 hour and 48 minutes long. Most of these songs have features on them, but I get it. It's Kanye. Like, he has his own interpretation and idea of how music should sound, and he never shies away from including other artists in his experience. And I actually fuck with that, because although all of these songs, well, most of these songs have features on them, none of these features were like trash, like, oh, he shouldn't have did that or whatever. Like, they very much fit the songs that they were on. These niggas were not just rapping about bullshit, of course, because Kanye would not let them. And I say that because even the people who decided to curse in their verse, Kanye definitely muted out those curse words, even muted out his own curse words. And I take offense to that. I'm a cussing ass nigga if you don't know. If you haven't heard me speak, this is your first time listening to me on my Blurredcast, I'm a cussing ass nigga, and I appreciate somebody who can string together a decent amount of curse words. Kanye used to be a cussing ass nigga. He used to at least say nigga. He don't anymore for whatever reason. Or I take that back, because the record with Andre 3000, he definitely cursed and said nigga. Like, they didn't get a chance to bleep all of that stuff out before OVO Sound Radio leaked it. But on this album, he decided to go a clean route, which, I mean, that's not a big departure from the last project, because he did that on Jesus is King as well. That's going to cause me to disconnect. I don't like clean music. I just don't. I don't feel like censorship should be a part of music as an art form. Like, this is expression. This is interpretation. Like, why the fuck are you censoring yourself? There are Christians that curse either frequently or in their past or on occasion when they get mad enough. Like, it's just a word. Just say what the fuck you mean and mean what the fuck you say. But you decided to be clean with it. Cool. My thoughts on the project, like I said, initially I was not too excited to do this, but I sat with it and listened, and I don't know, I enjoyed it for the most part. I will say, right, it's very like up and down. There's some like dope moments like Hurricane and Jail and okay, like the records with Playboy Cardi, La Shansia records, like even these little skits or whatever. There's moments where the album like hit some highs, but then for a lot of it was like very mild, and I ain't gonna lie, like I was kind of bored. But the songs that was fire, I was like, okay, these are fire, and I couldn't deny that. Obviously, Hurricane is gonna be the single. It has The Weeknd on it. The beat sounds the most, I guess, acceptable for hip hop today. Saying that because Kanye's production is on another level. Like, I think that's what I appreciated most about the album. Like, I still felt like this was Kanye music. Like, he was definitely not, other than the the New York drill beat sounding records, he was not really chasing like mainstream popularity with this album, and I can respect that. Kanye's always been an innovator when it comes to beats, you know what I'm saying, and production. So I like that he like stayed with that. That Off the Grid record is the one where it's like the New York drill beat or whatever. It don't sound bad. I'm just like, okay, you know what I'm saying? We was kind of giving that sound to Pop Smoke, and then he passed, and then like everybody started using it. So I was like, but I don't mind it. It's just, I don't know. That sound is getting oversaturated. That's the best way to put it. Now I will say this first track, Donda Chant, that shit threw me off for a minute. I ain't know what the fuck I was listening to, why it was sounding so cultish, or I don't know what the proper word is to say. I don't want to say demonic because I didn't get that vibe wholeheartedly. But I was like, what the fuck is this? But upon research, I found out that apparently this was Kanye trying to recreate the final heartbeats of his mom, Donda. So that's why it's called Donda Chant, and that's why it sounds like sporadic like that. If you put it next to some heartbeats or whatever, it sounds a little bit more accurate as far as what somebody said on the internet. Because I read this on like 2 or 3 different publications that the Donda Chant was supposed to be Kanye's mother's final heartbeats. And after I read it, I was like, okay, but I still gonna skip this because I don't think this is for me. But I have to say, I think Hurricane, okay, Junior, and Remote Control, maybe even Jesus Lord. Those like 5 tracks are probably my like favorite or whatever. Like if I had to pick 5 songs to tell people listen to kind of get what I thought about the album, I would pick those 5 because the rest of these are like, they good songs, but I just connected more with those. Oh, and Jail. I like Jail. Part 2 with the baby on it, it was cool. I know the baby still he kind of going through his cancellation, but that wasn't my reason for like saying it was cool. It was just more so Jay-Z kind of wrapped that song up perfectly. So throwing the baby on there for part 2, I was like, you could have put this verse on another track and it probably would have hit a little bit better based on all of these listening parties Kanye had. I know that he was tweaking these songs left and right, moving verses around. Chris Brown shared a verse for Remote Control that he was kind of tight that didn't make it. I would have been too because that verse is actually fire. Soulja Boy had a verse on Remote Control as well that Kanye was like, not adding it, sorry to you, sir. But I don't know. I didn't mind the baby on Jail Part 2. It's just Jay-Z was the perfect feature for that record, and I liked it how it was. When I heard Part 1, I was like, okay, this album about to be fired. It was a good way to set the tone after the Donda Chant or whatever. So the original Jail is like my top. I guess I gave 6. So 6 songs off of Donda that I'm like fucking with. If I had to critique this album like in a not so favorable way, because this is a review, so technically it's a critique. But something that I noticed personally that I was like, don't know how I feel about this. All this music sounds like music Kanye has already made before. I don't know if anybody else got that impression from the project. If you did or did not, shit, you could let me know. Comment on wherever I post this, or head over to my Twitter, tweet me, Brian Sapp, BrianSapph. I'm also on Instagram, but that's more for videos and pictures. But if you want to hit me over there, my DMs be open. Yeah, all sound like music he kind of made before. I found myself, after listening to this project, going back to Dark Twisted Fantasy, Life of Pablo, and Jesus is King, and being like, this sound like this sound like that, or I would have preferred this on this song, and Like, those 3 albums, I feel like Kanye kind of shook them up in a little bowl and was like, this is going to be Donda. Maybe those were the 3 albums that his mom liked the best. I don't know. When did Miss Donda pass? I forget. But either way, good album. Solid songs, features, production always top notch. Like, Kanye don't never slack on the beats. So even though all this music does sound very similar to what I've heard from Kanye before, it's definitely not trash. I can definitely say that. It's not trash at all. I think also that this album was meant to be more of a live experience than like just listening to. Like, at some point, Kanye's gonna tour. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna have a whole new perspective on this album. Like, just listening to it, I'm like, damn, I'm supposed to be watching something while listening to this, aren't I, Kanye? Like, this is a live experience, isn't it, sir? Like, this is what you had in mind when you put this music together. This sounds like soundtrack music. Am I supposed to be visualizing something while you hit me with all of these music things? Feel like that's what's supposed to happen. But we'll have to wait till he goes on tour for me to actually test out that theory. But I feel like I'm going to be right. I went on the Yeezus tour. I also went on the Life of Pablo tour, and hearing and seeing everything Kanye had for those 2 tours specifically, I was like, oh, yeah, this music is next level, because it sounds one way when you just listening to it, but then when you have visual components, this shit hit completely different. I was bummed out that I couldn't make the Glow in the Dark tour, because I really wanted to see a lot of those songs. That was like peak Kanye for me. Not saying peak Kanye in his career, because my Dark Twisted Fantasy definitely elevated him some more. But that whole Glow in the Dark era, where it was he was riding heavy off of Graduation and College Dropout and stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, I should have been on that tour. But it is what it is. One thing that kind of bothered me, though, about the production with Kanye, other than it all like pretty much sounding like stuff that he's done before, not saying not that that's a bad thing, I didn't really appreciate all the organs and pianos in the music. Like, I get it, the organ, the piano, like, those are essential instruments when it comes to gospel music, but it's like, God damn, Kanye, like, you're not a gospel artist. But the way you was incorporating all of these organs and these keys, I was like, okay, I get it. Didn't hate it, just didn't really like it that much. And it kind of made all of the songs blend, and then you sequenced it in a way to where it felt like a very long song that had some like hype moments and just some not so hype moments, but still Kanye music quality. Like, he's definitely earned the title of musical genius. I'm gonna always classify him as that, so I'm cool with it. I also had like a little hint of like mumble and trap music in this album as well, which is weird to like mix with the whole gospel sound that he had. So that kind of threw me off a little bit, but then his features kind of tied it together, because Playboi Carti is really good at making this kind of mumble trap music, and Fabio Foreign, he does a decent job at playing around with it. Lil Baby, he'll come on here trap beats and slide them is cool. It's nothing for him, So everything kind of worked out. Like Kanye has an ear for music. He knows what needs to be where and what should go here and there and X, Y, and Z. He put this shit together pretty well. Even the sequencing is so good that it just felt like one long ass song. I said that already, but I just can't get past that. Like the way he sequenced this album, it flowed effortlessly. And I don't know if that's necessarily good or bad. I would say lean more towards bad because there's times where I found myself like bored. But at the same time, like sequencing is not the easiest thing to do for a project. Like deciding what song goes where and when to pick the energy back up and when to lower it, it's not an easy task. And Kanye made this album like flow like a smooth wave, maybe to his detriment because it needed some hype moments and we had them. He just tucked them so well in between a bunch of slow moments. It almost felt like not so hype moments, but it's just what it is. I fuck with it. It's cool. I'm a little tight that he didn't include the Andre 3000 song. What is it called? Get Lifted? Lift Yourself? I think it's called Lift Yourself. I'm kind of mad he didn't put that on the album because Andre 3000, that's the best verse that I've heard from this whole Donda era, this whole Donda experience. Better than any verse from any feature artist on the project, better than all of Kanye's verses. Like Andre 3000 completely encapsulated everything I felt like Donda was going to be or supposed to be. But he himself did not like Kanye trying to mute and censor his curse words and his thoughts and opinions. So he was like, just keep it off if you could. And of course Kanye respected that. So that's why he was mad that OVO Sound Radio leaked the record. But I feel like he should have let Andre ride, do what he wanted to do. That would have been cool if it was the only song on the album with the little explicit E next to it. I would have been fine with that. I actually probably would have liked this album a lot more if that were the case. But it is what it is. Artistic expression sometimes gets in the way of the art, and it just is what it is. But shout out to Andre 3000 for not letting this nigga drag him into that shit that he got with Drake. That whole Drake beef shit, that was so exhausting. I was like, okay, look, focus on Donda or put a diss track out. Like this whole, oh well, I'm antagonizing Drake, but then here I am making this, halfway Christian gospel album, whatever the case might be. Like it was a little polar opposite energy wise, and I was just like, I'm exhausted. But yeah, shout out to Andre 3000 for not letting Kanye drag him into that shit with Drake. And I too would have liked to hear you on Certified Lover Boy, Andre 3000. Maybe you'll get us feature on the next album from Drake now that he knows that you're willing to rap again, because you took some time off. You cannot excuse that, sir. You make it seem like nobody be calling and checking for you. We have, but you didn't want to do the verses. So now that you're ready to do some more verses, I hope you can be on the next Drake project. I want you on that Kendrick project as well, like you said. And a bunch of other artists I think you'll work well with. But this is not about you. This is about Kanye. Appreciate your contribution to the project. But I know y'all have heard people talk about Donda every day since it dropped. Like people have been giving their own reviews and stuff like that. So I'm done with mine. But what I do want to close this out with is giving y'all what I would have done for Donda. Like if Kanye would have hit me up and be like, hey, I want you to creative direct the entire rollout and era for Donda and listen to the album and tell me what you think I should do or whatever. This is what I would have done, right? So I personally would have made Donda like a month-long experience. Cut one of those Atlanta shows, just made one Atlanta show. We listening to the project, and he doing this little theatrical thing on the ground. The next weekend, it would have been the same thing. Also including those like Apple Music streaming things or whatever. Because for those of you who didn't know, I had to find out by way of like trying to find a live stream. Donda was also streaming on Apple Music during the exact time that he was doing his listening parties in Atlanta and Chicago. Like you can listen to the album on Apple Music, and then after the concert or listening event was over, they stopped streaming the album. Like it was like a little radio station on Apple Music. Then you could listen to the project, no skipping, just whatever song the music is on, you listening. It was weird, but it was cool at the same time because, we couldn't all be there. I would have kept that. But like I said, make it a month-long experience, right? So the first weekend, boom, live Donda listening event in Atlanta. Second weekend, same thing, but in Chicago. The third weekend, though, instead of a listening party, because he did 3, I would have released a full-length movie or visual for the project. Something like Black is King. That's Beyonce's, visual for her Lion King The Gift album that's on Disney Plus. Something like what Janelle Monáe does, where she makes these movies to like accompany her project. Like I would have made this a movie, something that we could like watch and listen to the album at the same time, because I really do stand on my opinion that this is like soundtrack music or like movie score music. Like I felt like I was supposed to be watching something, which is weird because we ain't get no videos from this project to my knowledge. Like if there's any videos out for the Donda project, I have not seen them, and I feel like that's what's missing. Either some kind of music videos or like movie, music, film, visual. That's what I would have wanted. So yeah, first week, listening party in Atlanta. Second week, listening party in Chicago. Third week, along with the album, a movie, film / extended visual to accompany the release of the project so we could watch and listen at the same time. Fourth week, deluxe edition with all those part 2s on it and maybe some extra tracks if Kanye was feeling generous. Definitely the Andre 3000 track. I also would have not censored any of my feature artists on this project. Like everybody who decided they want to curse in their verse or whatever, I would have just let that shit fly. It is what it is. I don't like censorship in music. I don't care why you're doing it. Like just let art be art. It is what it is. At least a mild cursing. But yeah, that's what I would have done. Also, I felt very slighted that the Migos did not appear on Donda, because who loves they mama more than Migos? Like these niggas, that's an ad lib of theirs. Mama, like they fuck with their mama. Like why you didn't have the Migos on the Donda album about your mom? I feel like that would have been dope. But that's just what I would have done. I also would have included Nicki Minaj on this project. Why? Because did you not hear how well she narrated fucking Dark Twisted Fantasy? Like it would have been cool to have some kind of motherly figure, especially with Nicki being like mom of of this generation of women rappers. Like that would have been dope to have her on there being a mom. She got a kid now, so she is a mom. Like it would have just been dope to me to hear Nicki and Kanye doing vocals again together, whether she's rapping on it or whatever, or just like I said, narrating. I feel like narrator would have been fine. But yeah, ultimately that is what I would have done for the Donda project had I had the ability to insert my creative vision. But that's just me. The album does not sound bad without my suggestions. I think my suggestions would have made it better though. But I'm supposed to feel like that about my suggestions. But yeah, that's what I would have done, man. Other than that, not a terrible project. Like I said, not his best, but definitely not his worst. Like I'd still appreciate the musical genius of Kanye West. Does this album have replay value? is very low, in my opinion. And that's just because, no, ain't no just because. It's because the album is an hour and 48 minutes long. A lot of these songs are not like hype moments or music that you would want to listen to for anything other than just having something in the background while you like attempt to be godly or Christian like or whatever the case might be. Like, Kanye didn't necessarily make this music to be an impact on our life in the sense of giving us something to ride to live to vibe to. It felt more like a therapy session for him where he could like exercise the thoughts and opinions and feelings that he has surrounded his mom. And that kind of makes sense given what Andre 3000 said about him saying to him, about Kanye saying to Andre that this is supposed to be a musical tribute to his mom. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close it out, man. If you have any opinions on the Donda project, anything that you want to add to the conversation, if you want to critique my opinion, I'm okay with that as well. Y'all know where to find me at BrianSapph on Twitter. I think Twitter would be the best place to do this because I could talk back like pretty quick. But if you decide you want to jump into the comments on a YouTube video or hit me on Instagram, whatever, that's cool as well. But that's it. Thank y'all for sticking with me while I've been gone for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. I told y'all I was going to give you the Donda review. That's it. So I'll catch you on the next one. Y'all know what's up next. CLB. And then a bunch of other shit that I meant to talk about. Like, there's a lot that's happened since I last uploaded an episode. So I'm going to be hitting y'all upside the head. Just, bear with me. It's going to be a lot of drops coming real soon. Thank y'all for rocking with me and not leaving me because I haven't been consistent with the content. I'll catch y'all on the next one, though.